Yeah, what's up, everybody? Another edition of the Introduction Program, live and direct in your ear. What's up? How y'all feel out there? I'm Frank Red, all right? Hit me up, at Big Frank Red on Twitter, and subscribe to the program if you're not already a subscriber to this particular YouTube channel, In the Dungeon Show. I'm excited for tonight's program because we're coming off what I think is probably our best show since we started doing the In the Dungeon Show on YouTube. I got to give all the credit to the listeners out there. Your questions and your comments were thoroughly engaging, and I think that really created a real cool vibe on the program last time out. Let's try to top that tonight. We're going to go for about an hour or so. And at that point, we'll check the pulse to see where we are. If people are interested, then maybe we'll go a little longer than an hour. But we'll see. We'll feel it out. All right. Luckily for us, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Some of the topics are pleasant and happy, get your juices flowing, and others take you aback, make you pause a little bit, and let you know that we don't control much in our lives. Only thing we can do is the best that we can, but every now and then there's a higher power that lets us all know that we're not in control. And what I'm talking about at the start of the show is Bronny James, the young son of Savannah and LeBron, 18-year-old, incoming freshman at USC basketball team, had a cardiac arrest yesterday while practicing with his team. And I'm not going to speculate too much on what the actual diagnosis is. I'm not a doctor. But I do know that suffering cardiac arrest is not as rare as some might think it is, particularly in the African American community. So I just hope the best for him. And like I said, I won't speculate, but I think that this puts everything into question, and as it should. I mean, basketball, I tell players, and my coaches to tell me that basketball is only important when you're doing it. When you're not doing it, it's not that important. There are bigger things that are more important than basketball. Number one is Bronny James's life and his health, and making sure that he's taken care of in that regard. So if you have any comments about that, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Another thing that I want to talk about tonight that kind of got me going was Major League Baseball. We're on the cusp of Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to tell you their stats. If you want to find out their stats, do your own research. Only thing I'll say is Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland were very, very good baseball players, to the extent that they've been inducted into the Hall of Fame. But yesterday, July 24th, was the birthday of Barry Lamar Bonds. And the more I think about it, Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame might be the most egregious thing in the history of sports. I mean, if you look at Barry Bonds' numbers, you would be like, wow, I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he did that. And did he take steroids? Yes, he did. He said he didn't know what he was taking. We don't believe you. You need more people, okay? But before Barry Bonds ever came to San Francisco Giants, he was already a Hall of Famer. If you want to put an asterisk next to his name and say, listen, this happened during this guy's career, fine. I have no problem with that. But to keep Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame, the only thing that you're hurting is the game. And you're hurting him also. But I think the game suffers even more. Barry Bonds is not the only player. Roger Clemens, there are many more. And I mean, also when you consider that it wasn't like people didn't know that this was happening who were powerful within baseball. They knew, everybody knew. But they didn't say anything because they were making money and they were coming off a strike and they needed to rebuild the game. So they let it go. They let a lot of stuff go for years upon years. And at the end of the day, the players are the ones who are paying the biggest price. And I think that's flat out wrong. I also think that we don't have perfect people in the Hall of Fame. We just don't. I'm not saying don't acknowledge that this happened. It did happen. But not to put them in the Hall of Fame, especially now when you consider what's happening in baseball, some of the wrongs. I mean the hijacking of a franchise in Oakland. It really disgusts me, to be quite honest with you. So if you have any thoughts about that, feel free. And this does not disparage Scott Rowland or Fred McGriff. I'm not comparing those guys to Barry Bonds or anybody who's not in the Hall of Fame who I believe should be in the Hall of Fame. Also, the idea that you would allow a, quote, committee of writers to decide who should be in the Hall of Fame. Have you heard Kanye West's song? No man or woman should have that much power. Nobody should have that much power. You need a better system, as far as I'm concerned. If you want to talk about that, feel free. We are on the cusp of the women's Olympic soccer team taking on the Netherlands tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I really am, for a lot of different reasons. I love watching women's soccer because, as I said before the last show, those young ladies are fierce. They're beautiful. They're athletic. They will cut your tongue out of your mouth to get a win. They're acrobatic. They're tough. I love watching them play. And when I juxtapose our USA women's soccer team against MLS, I'm like, no. Now, I don't watch a lot of the Women's Pro League yet. I don't. I think I'm still coming up to speed to that. But I can watch our national team all day. And I'll watch our men also. But I find the women to be far more entertaining. I can name 4 or 5 of the women's players. I can't name any of the men's players. Paselic, I don't want to kill the guy's name, but you know what I'm talking about. And like when I think about this, like Messi, is Messi out there playing against the Washington Generals? I mean, give me a break. The guy just got off a plane. He just got, no. He got off the plane and then he went food shopping at the local grocery. He said, "Oh, excuse me, miss, I have a game to play." And he goes out there playing for Miami and starts scoring goals. I mean, what does that say for the professional players on the other teams? I mean, yeah, it's a money grab. It's good for the game. But did you guys expect to see that? It's funny to me. I'm glad Messi's here, but it makes a statement to me about the league. I mean, it's funny. So if we have any comments about that, feel free. We're also going to talk about Jaylen Brown's historic NBA contract from the Boston Celtics. He got $300 million, and I'm gonna get into that because the number is shocking, but there's a reason why he's getting $300 million. I'm gonna tell you about that as we evolve. First and foremost, I'm gonna say what's up to my man Mark Graves. Said the writers have taken it personal about the way Barry treated them and using steroids as a reason not to vote him in. I totally agree with that. And that's the thing that pisses me off. It's about how Barry, I believe, treated the writers. And was he a jerk to a lot of the writers? Yes, he was. Was he a jerk to a lot of people? Probably. I'm not doubting that 1 second. But when you are in a position to decide whether or not someone should be in the Hall of Fame, I don't think that you should forget, but I think that you should consider everything about your decision, because I think young kids, future generations, are less likely to discover the feats of a Barry Bonds if he's not in the Hall of Fame, or Roger Clemens. Yeah, can you go and find the information? Is it out there? Yes. But the context is different. And I think that's the challenge that I have. And then, when you don't have certain players in the Hall of Fame, it also speaks to like a hierarchy. There's a certain amount of sanctimoniousness, if that's a word, associated with the Hall of Fame. And we know that that is not the case. This is not a bunch of saints. It's not. It's the best of the best. And steroids or not, you think Roger Clemens was not one of the best pitchers in the history of the major leagues? Yes, he was. Barry Bonds. I'd even say Mark McGwire. So that's just my take on it. I'm sure we have some staunch baseball fans out there that could probably put together a pretty good argument why they should not be in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, it's getting tough, everybody. When you look at some of the players who are getting into the Hall of Fame now, and like I said, I was not going to disparage any of them because they're great players, but comparatively speaking, it's getting tough. It really is. It really is. Mark also says, I love watching World Cup. Yeah, I love watching it too. Who's your favorite player? Do you have a favorite player? Is it the overall team? I like watching Julie Ertz. I'm enamored with Trinity Rodman because I can't help but think about her dad and his relentless play. That's how she plays. And I think she certainly wants to score goals. I mean, you can kind of see that. But her athleticism, man, her ability to run all over the field is very attractive. Alex Morgan is just a bucket. She reminds me of Tim Booker. He just kind of hangs around the basket. He hangs around the net, waiting for an opportunity to embarrass the goalie. She's just a bucket. So I like watching her also. Nothing's ever out of place either. I love that about her. I mean, she's going full bore, using her head, and still she keeps it all together. So Alex Morgan is somebody else who I like to watch play as well. Mark says Hall of Fame is for the best players in history. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's just my take on it. I totally agree with that. Now, I want to talk about Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. There was some conversation about whether or not he would ultimately sign a Supermax contract, 5 years, $300 million. And in real dollars, is he worth $300 million? Based on the criteria that was developed for him to make that salary, I guess he is. I'm happy for him because I don't know him, but I covered him when he was at Cal. Watching him now, he's pretty thoughtful, he's highly intelligent. You can do a lot of good things with $300 million. And I wouldn't doubt that Jaylen Brown uses a lot of his wealth to impact the lives of a lot of people in a positive sense. So I'm happy for him. I really am. But the reason why he was able to get a contract like that is because the NBA's next contract, if you read the tea leaves, it's going to be for in the area of $75 billion. After the 24-25 season, and they could probably start negotiating early. $75 billion. The current contract is worth $24 billion. Now, it might be an 11-year deal. I'm not quite sure. Somewhere between 9 and 11 years. But it's going to be somewhere between 70 and 80 billion dollars, right? Which means that the players now are getting paid from a pool. The pool is around 2.4 billion, 2.5 billion per year, 2.7 around there. When they get the new contract, they're going to be paying NBA franchises on average $6.7 billion a year. So if the players get 51% of the cumulative assortment of revenue streams, those salaries are going to go up. Whether or not you think a player is worth it or not is almost irrelevant. It's the pie, it's the business of basketball, and it's very, very good. So the Denver Nuggets couldn't sign Jokic to an extension fast enough. His was for $267 million. Jaylen Brown's for $300. Jason Tatum's is probably gonna be for about what, $310? And they're still gonna make a profit. So it's amazing. Even the Warriors, the salary cap's gonna go up. We're talking about the situation that they're in right now, but that could easily go away within the next couple of years as this new pot of money comes to the forefront for all of these NBA teams. So as gigantic of a contract as Jaylen Brown signed, trust me, all the bean counters, all of the executives, the owners, they've all factored everything in, and it's reasonable for them to pay these athletes that type of money and still make a profit. So good for them. SG, what's up, brother? Thank you, man. And I'm doing fine. And thank you. I really appreciate what you said. You said, I love everything you're doing on the channel. I appreciate it. Like I said before, and I'm gonna say it again, it's really not about the amount of people, it's about the quality of the content. It's about the enthusiasm of the host. Am I engaging? If I'm not, then let me know. Let me know some things I can do to improve whatever I'm doing. But I'm always prepared. I'm always excited to do this show, man. And anybody who takes their personal time to step in the dungeon, trust me, I am very, very thankful of that. We get a swig. Need a swig break. All right. Another story I want to talk about is a bit surprising. Saquon Barkley decided to sign his tender with the New York Football Giants, and he's in camp. Now, it would have been reasonable for Saquon to say, you know what? I'm not going to camp. I'm going to sign my tender maybe a week before the first game, and I'm going to go in there in shape, play my tail off, and although I'm upset, earn the $10 million that I'm going to make this year. It's a guaranteed salary. But I think Saquon showed the type of leader that he is. And he showed it's really more than about money. And that might actually pay dividends for him in the future. Because, you can talk about this salary slot for running backs has been collectively bargained by the unit, excuse me. But my rebuttal to that is, yeah, but every organization, every team has the ability to sign their players for whatever they want to sign them for. They're not binded by any type of collective bargaining salary scale that they have for a position. They can pay their players anything they want to pay them. So that's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. It's a safety net for organizations that can't evaluate, that they can't manage a salary cap. That's what it's for. But organizations that are well run and want to exhibit a sense of fairness, they can pay their players what they want to pay them. So, they were still talking to Saquon, and somehow, some way, they reached a resolution to this problem. And essentially, he got $900,000 to go to practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice. He got an extra $900,000. Now, if I'm Saquon and I had to take a step back today, I'm not giving up $900,000. $900,000 is essentially $1 million, right? It's close to $1 million. Now, he paid a lot of tax in New York, so, it is what it is. But I think he did the smart thing by going in and taking that extra $900,000. Now he's going to make $11 million this year. And he's going to earn his money. I think this whole issue was really about not showing great faith in him, not trusting him, not understanding what he has to deal with as a player who's putting his body on the line, who can potentially get hurt and then not have a safety net there. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. And I actually have zero problem with that. Now, Josh Jacobs and the Las Vegas Raiders, they're in a bad arranged marriage. Saquon, you can hear him talking with his heart about the Giants and about his teammates. You've heard none of that from Josh Jacobs, and rightfully so. The Raiders did not even pick up his option. When you don't pick up a player's option, know what you're saying? You're not going to be a part of our future. So for the Raiders not to pick up his option and then tag him after he goes out and just balls out last year, I mean, would you feel close to that organization? This is strictly about money. And I don't have any doubt that he's going to go out and have another terrific season because he's a great player. And he has that foundation from Alabama, and I think that he's a professional. But the mindset is different. And I don't know if you can have a business mindset in football. I know many of you play football. I played football before. And playing, I played college football and I played college basketball. And the mentality is totally different from basketball and football. I remember on my college basketball team, we had a guy, his name was Steve Samuels, right? And we rode this dude. This dude put 30 points on the board for 5 straight games. And, we won 4 of those 5 games. You can ride players in basketball. You can do that. We had a couple of good players, excellent coaching, people fulfilled their roles, and we won games. Football's not like that. You need everybody moving in the same direction to have success. Let's talk about these great quarterbacks. These quarterbacks are great. But if you don't block for these quarterbacks, they ain't that damn good. Think about Jared Goff, right? He wasn't that good. He was fragile. Then all of a sudden he's in Detroit, has a great offensive line, and Jared is balling right now. Look, all pro. Looks like an all pro right now. So football and basketball are a different game. Saquon Barkley helps Daniel Jones tremendously. And for them not to acknowledge that upsets me. But he's showing the type of leader that he is. I mean, I'm really, really proud of that guy. I really am. And, I like Saquon, but I couldn't say that I was a fan of Saquon for no particular reason. I'm a fan of Saquon Barkley now. Now, football is a bottom line game where you got guys trying to take your head off, and yet you're penalized still if you get hurt. So he has to go out and play and not get hurt and ball out. That's the nature of football. It really is. Tough game. So we want to talk about that. We can do that also. Now, on a small move concerning the Golden State Warriors, Chris Weems has been elevated from a second row assistant coach to a front row assistant. And it was kind of one of those under the radar type moves. And rightfully so. Nobody really knows who Chris Weems is unless you're kind of in the inner circle. But I know him because I coached against him when he was a high school coach. And I've been following him for a long period of time. Probably, was it 2 decades since he played at Stanford? But he was a pretty good player at Stanford also. Real positive guy, a hell of a high school coach. And did he have the right connections to get to where he is? Yes. Anybody who has had success in anything has probably had a break or 2 or 3 or 4 to allow them to show their talent. So that's the nature of our world. That's the nature of society. But I'm happy for him because he has a real journey. This guy was a high school coach, was a role player in college, and to think that he could ascend to the highest level of coaching with what I think is the best run organization in the NBA, I salute you, Chris Weems. And he's not just there. You know, he's a front row assistant, so he's going to have a defined responsibility, whatever that is. And Steve Kerr is going to depend on him for whatever that might be. I don't know. I think what it does, though, is puts a lot of pressure on Steve Kerr. Kerr's power base has increased since Bob Myers has left, losing assistants. And I just hope that he can handle it all because he's always had some buffers. And I guess I assume Ron Adams is still going to be there. He still has that, that layer of support that he needs. But I think that Steve Kerr is definitely more empowered as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. And in hip hop, Nas just dropped another album, I guess Magic 2. And, I know we probably have some people listening who are not necessarily hip hop fans, and that's great because it's never too late. All right. I listen to all types of music. One of my favorite forms of music is soft. Yeah, I mean, I love it, man. The songwriting in soft rock is unbelievable. It soothes me when I'm just trying to mellow out riding in my car, and I just need to kind of like get into my thoughts. There's nothing like James Taylor flowing through my speakers in my car, or the Doobie Brothers, or the Eagles, or there's so many different groups I can name. But Nas, I said that I listen to soft rock just to speak to my diversity of musical choices. And I was saying that because you might not know who Nas is, but Nas, to me, is it a little bit of hyperbole? Maybe. But I think Nas is number one right now. I think Nas is the number one rapper to ever have done this. Now, let's not confuse who's the best versus who's your favorite. Because this is just my thoughts. I mean, it's different for everybody. But that guy's body of work, especially at this point in his career, is nuts. Because it seems to me that like when rappers and maybe other artists deal with this as well, but when rappers get rich and they can't talk about where they came from or what they were dealing with on their come up, they seemingly lose interest. And that's okay. And if your interests take you in a different direction, maybe you go into television or whatever. But if you still desire to make great music and you feel stuck because you can't think of anything at that point, that's disappointing to me because I think that it's still there. The talent is still there. The subject is still there. And Nas is proving that. So if you haven't checked out some of Nas' new album, just go to YouTube and check some of the tracks out. It's dope. He's on the cut with 50 Cent. And I mean, I haven't heard 50 Cent that engaged on a record in a long time. It actually makes me think, yo, this dude 50 Cent might be ready to put another album out, because just those, those few little bars that he spit on this track with Nas, kind of dope. I don't think the title's called Fredo, but it might be Fredo. I'm not quite sure. Mark is over great road trip music. Yeah, man. We could talk about my soft rock choices. I'm the biggest James Taylor fan in the world. Something about his voice, the melodies that he's come up with. I'm a big James Taylor guy. And so some of the music that I used, I actually sample that era of music because of the melody. The songwriting was incredible during that particular time period. The Neil Youngs of the world, the Bob Dylans, the Al Greens. I mean, wow. Songwriting was on a whole nother level. I mean, like, even now, like, I write songs. There's not a lot of, this is my opinion again. I don't think that there's that many great songs out there right now. And maybe someone is like, yo, you're not connected to what's happening right now. That's fair. And then that doesn't mean that Taylor Swift is not a brilliant writer, because she is a brilliant writer. But she kind of stares up on the clouds. Billie Eilish, she came out, she had a moment, and she's a good writer. But that second album, that second introduction, wasn't what the first one was. You can't say anything about Taylor Swift, whether or not you like her music or not, and I'm not necessarily a fan of it, but her ability to write songs cannot be doubted. She's an excellent songwriter. Except for you, it's Bob Seger. Oh, man. Yeah. Mark, I'm a big Bob Seger guy as well. Saturday Nights, right? Oh, no, Hollywood Nights. I listened to that song 2 weeks ago. I was driving home from the gym. And what a great narrative, man. Seger's a bad boy. There's no question about that. Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm Frank Red. All right, this is In the Dungeon program. Hit me up at Big Frank Red. On Twitter, sign up for the show. And if nothing else, I am very, very eclectic in terms of what I like. Probably surprise people out there, but I'm into a lot of different things, man. My first job was a caddy. I caddied for 10 years. So, Night Move. Yeah, Night Move. Working on Night Move. But didn't he write Hollywood Nights? Who did that? Maybe I'm wrong. Help me out. And I don't remember the guy's name who won the Open. 36-year-old. Was it Harmon? I don't remember his name. But my thoughts following the Opens tournament was, this is not like the old days. Rory McIlroy has not won a major in 9 years. Dustin Johnson didn't even make the cut. Kawakami, the kid from Cal, who is an excellent player. I butcher names, I'm sorry, man. I don't have this stuff in front of me. It's all coming off my head. Kalakawi, I think Kalakawi, his name is. Out of Cal, excellent player. But Tiger Woods spoiled it for all of us. And I know, we're at the point now where you got young golf fans who are looking up Tiger on YouTube. He's at that stage of his career where it's like, yeah, Jordan was pretty good, but pretty soon they'll be saying, yeah, Kobe Bryant was pretty good, but such and such is so much better. Everybody has to deal with that, unfortunately, because of age, and because time doesn't slow down, it speeds up. But if you're a golf fan right now, you got to be a hardcore golf fan. I don't think that the LIV tournament or the PGA, I don't think that they're building their fan base, at least not in the United States, because the level of competition, it's not like these guys are not good. They're really good, but they don't stand above each other. And I think, like it or not, dynasties are actually good for sports. They really are, because it gives you somebody to focus on. When the San Francisco 49ers are really good, you know, to the extent that they're winning Super Bowls, you have a light bulb moment every week. Networks love it. They love their style of play, and they become that, quote, brand. Are there any brands in golf at this point? I don't think so. I think that they're good players. But myself, as somebody who kind of likes the sport, I'm not like a religious golf fan, but I like golf, and I like it because I understand how hard it is. It is really hard to be good at golf. I'm still amazed, like that eagle putt that Stephen Curry made in Tahoe. Are you kidding me? You know how hard that is? Tough game to be good at it. Tiger changed golf for the pros as well as for the weekend hackers. He did. Tiger did change the game. But more than changing the game, Tiger had a certain swag that was attractive to the casual viewer. And I think that that's missing more than anything. Jon Rahm's a great golfer. Might be number one. Is Jon Rahm number one? Is Dustin Johnson number one? Does Jon Rahm have any swag at all? You know, if you just showed up and you're watching golf and you didn't know how good he was watching for the first time, would you say to yourself, wow, that guy got some swag? I don't think so. That's what Tiger brought tremendous talent, tremendous skill, and the type of swag that we hadn't seen in a long time. Now, Jack Nicklaus is, you know, before my time, but Jack Nicklaus had swag before swag was invented. He had that. You know, he had a walk about himself, and Lee Trevino and Arnold Palmer. Those guys had that, and I think that golf is missing that now, you know. How did I get on golf? I don't know. I'm passionate about it, and I like the game. Maybe at some point, you know, I would find 4 or 5 hours to actually go out and play. My college roommate is an avid golf fan. This dude loves golf. Picked the game up actually after college, you know, from Harlem. You know, so golf is a great game, but right now I'm not all that interested in spending my afternoons watching it, because I'm looking for those couple of players to not only be good, but to set themselves apart from the rest, and they have not done that. Yeah, so what are your thoughts? I mean, on the cusp of the women's soccer team playing tomorrow night against the Netherlands, that's going to be a competitive game. And this is not going to be a cakewalk. It's just not going to be a cakewalk. Canada is really, really good. Obviously, I want our ladies to win because I want to see them win the World Cup, but I also see them cake up and win that $270,000 that each one of them will get for winning the World Cup. So winning is important. That's the most important thing. But Megan Rapinoe and so many other young ladies have fought for equal pay, and now's an opportunity for them to, you know, make some money, man. So I definitely want to see that as well. Talking about Major League Baseball's inductees into the Hall of Fame this year: Scott Rowland, Fred McGriff. Wow. Good for those gentlemen, because they earned it. They played hard, but not exactly a home run event in terms of interest among the public. Literally, you could ask a couple of weeks from now who got into the Hall of Fame, they probably wouldn't even know. Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest yesterday. And it's only newsworthy because he is the son of famous parents. And, you know, today I was just thinking about all families and all individuals who might experience some discomfort with their breathing, with their hearts. I don't like fame. I really don't. And, you know, kids don't ask to be famous. They don't. I mean, they're the kids of, children, siblings, children of famous parents. People might think that it's real easy, but it's not. They don't ask to be famous. A lot of them just want to live their lives. So when I saw breaking news on ESPN and all these other networks and doctors sitting in talking about Bronny, I'm happy that there's favorable news that he's doing better and he's out of the ICU, excuse me. But it got me thinking about just regular people, man, and how important it is to treat everybody the same. At least I do. I mean, I go out of my way to treat everybody the same, and you know, not stargaze. I mean, I can't say that I've never seen someone and looked at them and say, wow. But I work hard at not doing that because everybody's important. And nobody loves their children more than the next parent. And, you know, got me thinking about the new coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, played at Seton Hall. Can't think of his name right now. And that bothers me. But his grandson just died. I think he was 2 months old, either 2 years old. Just died, seemingly of natural causes. What's the coach's name? I could look it up. He played at Seton Hall for PJ Carlesimo, and he played a lot of years in the NBA. Was most recently assistant for the Toronto Raptors. But his grandson just died at the age of 2 or 2 months. I'm not quite sure, but there's nothing about it. You know, there was a bleep in there, and doesn't mean that people care any less, because they don't. They care just as much as any famous person's child, but because he's not as famous, it's not newsworthy. And that didn't make me feel. That didn't make me care any less. I mean, my heart was broken to know that this young person had died, man, because it's tough. He just gets his job, the new head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and now he and his family are grieving the loss of one of their loved ones. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and send out my prayers and condolences to that family. And let me look at who it is. I want to do it justice. Yeah. Adrian Griffith is his name. We all know him. Longtime NBA player and assistant. He just lost a grandchild. So that breaks my heart. Mark says, being a parent, it's got to be the worst feeling ever. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm going to say this, too. You know, for somebody who didn't have a father, I think it's hard to imagine. You know, I mean, I know that, you know, my father, he was a I've never had a dad. My mother's my hero, man. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't talk to my mom. And part of that is just how she raised us. You know, she was kind of the outsider. I don't like to use the word black sheep, but she was a person in the family who kind of did her own thing, and took responsibility for all her actions and didn't worry about anything. She got it done. And had 2 kids by the time she was 16, 4 by the time she was 22, worked 2 jobs, moved us away from the family actually, and you know, built the foundation for us. And yeah, we're close. So parents don't like to lose children, obviously. I mean, losing a child is, I can't think of anything more traumatic than that. But as a child who's close to a parent, I can't imagine anything worse than that either, even though we all, at some point, will no longer be here. Hopefully via natural causes after living a wonderful life. But that's going to be a tough day if my mom leaves this earth before I do. That'd be tough on me. Yes, Mark, thank you. Adrian Griffith. Yeah, I'll put that out there. And SG, I want to acknowledge you. Yeah, Giants got a 2-1 win over the Oakland A's. Good for them. Check this out. SC says, you should do a 49er versus Raider post-game show on your YouTube channel. You should invite some guests. Yeah, why don't I call up Brock Purdy? Yeah, maybe Deebo Samuels is available. Better yet, why don't I get John Lynch to come on in the Dungeon Show? Why don't I just call up my best friend Cal Shanahan? Yeah. I went to camp with Josh McDaniels. Why don't I call up Josh? Yeah. Better yet, why don't I just call up the new owner of the Las Vegas Raiders? Tom Brady's not doing anything. Why don't I have him on the post-game show? Who else? SG, they got 19,000 post-game shows, right? 19,000. I counted last night. I'd rather talk to you, to be honest with you. I'd rather talk to you, and I'd rather talk to regular folks who support me. I'm not really, you know, if I genuinely build a relationship with somebody who's famous, all good. I told my Charles Woodson story before, and I'll tell it again. I used to cover the Raiders when they were in the Bay, and the Raiders' renegade mentality extended from the field to the front office, right? And also the Raiderettes. You know what? Now here's the thing about the Raiderettes, right? Check this out. Most organizations have strict dating protocols that say you can't date the cheerleaders. The Oakland Raiders didn't have that rule. You know, they're people, right? I don't know what the Las Vegas Raiders rules are, but the Oakland Raiders didn't have that rule. You know, you can date cheerleaders. You can hang out. And as a media person, working for a radio station at that particular time, it was fair game. I knew who the media director was, Mike Taylor. And once you were inside, it was up to you to build relationships with the players. Now, there were a couple of guys who had, you know, radio shows that were being sponsored and so on and so forth. But that was cake for me. It was real easy for me to go and just start talking football with someone who was on the team. And it helped my show a lot. It really did. And I remember after one game, I just go up. I started to build a relationship with Charles Woodson, and that was awesome because Woodson not only had a lot of confidence, but he was really, really good. And from day one, he was starting, right? But he was a young guy, and I was a young guy, and he started to see me around. I was really consistent. So I went up to Charles Woodson, and I said, "Oh, Charles, I got a show tonight. Would you come on my show?" This is Charles Woodson, right? And Charles was like, "I got some people coming in tonight from out of town. We're going to go to dinner. But give me the number. What's the number? If we finish early, then I'll call in." The last 30 minutes of the show, I did a 2-hour show. My producer almost spilled his coffee, if you will. He said, "Yo, Red, Charles Woodson's on the line." You see me smiling now? That's how I was smiling then. We're talking 15 plus years ago. And I had an opportunity to talk to Woodson for about 20, 25 minutes. Great dialogue. So that smile that you just saw, that's an authentic smile. That's, that's not a facial expression that you get when you walk up to somebody who, 3-4 years ago, when they're on the cusp of being drafted, were just as humble as anybody in the world, just to have the opportunity to put the uniform on. Now they're being paid, and this doesn't describe everybody, by the way. Let me say this. But there are some people that change and are not as inviting once they, quote, make it. And I guess that's understandable. I'm not that type of person, though. If anybody sees me in the streets or anywhere, and I don't come off in person, like hopefully I'm coming off to you right now, then you have the right to check me. We're just people. That's all we are. Status really shouldn't matter. And I think that's why somebody like a Stephen Curry is one of a kind, because those values that he has, those values that he came into the NBA with, he still exhibits now as a 14, 15-year player, Hall of Famer, going to be a billionaire, everything, and yet he's still the same person. So that shouldn't take work. That should be who you are. So, when you talk about doing a posting show, it's not as easy as you might think it is, SG. But if it happens, you get somebody famous, then it's all good. One person who I actually built a pretty good relationship with when he played for the Raiders was Lincoln Kennedy. Lincoln and I was pretty good. And the way that Lincoln Kennedy and I became friendly is I was doing some research, right? Because I wanted Lincoln to come on my show. And Lincoln Kennedy is one of the nicest guys you're ever going to see. Almost too nice to be an NFL player. And I kind of got him in trouble a little bit until he realized that, if I'm all pro, I'm going to make more dough. So he became an all pro. But one of the things that I researched about Lincoln Kennedy was when he went to the University of Washington. Lincoln Kennedy was a theater major, right? So Lincoln and I had this running joke. I said, "Well, Lincoln, dude, you know some people and I know some people. If I get you a starring role in a movie with Halle Berry, will you come on my show?" We laugh about it and everything. And then before you know it, we actually developed a pretty friendly relationship. And those things happen in the moment when you start to, get noticed, or you start to work and people realize that you're working and you're not out to get them. I'm not that guy. I want to see everybody prosper and be in the most positive light. But there are some folks out there that will use these mediums, these podcasts, newspapers, to really cause harm to people when they could, present information in a way that tells the truth, but doesn't have to damage folks. I mean, we've all seen that as well. SG says, Frank, how old are you? How old do you think I am, dude? That's what's more important. I have some life lessons, and those include that don't let somebody tell you you can or can't do something. Wow. That should be number one, man. That should be the number one life lesson. That should be the number one life lesson. I've actually used that scenario in my new song that's coming out. And it's true. When you get to a point, and I'm going to preface this by referencing a guy by the name of Rick Rubin. I love 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is one of my favorite shows. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I really do. And you guys know who Rick Rubin is? Rick Rubin started Def Jam Records. Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, Public Enemy, so many of the top rap groups of a different era were on Def Jam. And Rick Rubin now is kind of like this man of wisdom. What's a name for somebody who, I can't think of it right now, but he's the go-to guy for artists. I guess he has a compound in Los Angeles now where it's pretty minimal, but beautiful at the same time. And musical artists go to Rick Rubin's place. It actually has a name, and they create music, and they seek his advice on things. And a lot of this information is actually out there to consume. And one of the things that Rick Rubin says that I identify with is when you reach a point in your life where you are impervious to what other people think of you, that's when you made it. And you got to continually to make it, because you can't lose that. But that's when you know that you have something special. When myself as an artist goes in the studio and I make music that I feel comfortable with, and I am my harshest critic, and I know that my music is on that level, and all of a sudden I find myself in front of a shady record executive that wants to beat me down and tell me that my music sucks, even though they might like it, so they can get the best deal for the record label. That's a real scenario. Fortunately for me, I have my own label, and everybody can put their own stuff out. So that scenario is not as prevalent as it used to be, but it's still real. Young people have a hard time really honing in into their essence, and they're seeking approval from other people. And when you're not seeking approval from other people, you're focusing on the reasons why you are doing something. That's when you made it. And I'll even use that example in sports talk radio or any type of content creation. Now, at this point, I'm gonna have 5 people listening, right? But those 5 people are equivalent, in my mind, to like 5,000 people. You know how many bad podcasts there are in the world? You know how many people who are not engaging and exciting, who turn the old podcast machine on every day and fill a couple of hours? Hey, Bob, what do you think about the earned run average of the Detroit Tigers? Not very good. Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow. That's real. So anybody who's doing this, get to that point where you are impervious to what other people are thinking about you, and you're focusing on your essence. It's scary to other people. It's powerful. It's scary. Know whose music I like to listen to the most right now? My own. I love it. I love my music. I love it because it's coming from a real place. I dig it. I want you to get there. Whatever you do, I don't care what you do. You could be a programmer, you know, and somebody tell you that, you know what, your code sucks. And you go, wait a minute. No, it doesn't. And she said Lincoln Kennedy played for the Falcons in 93-95, and then he played for the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, I know. I covered the Raiders. Frederick J. Rick Rubin, I didn't know his name was that, was born 63. He's an American record executive, record producer. He's co-founder, along with Russell Simmons, of Def Jam. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, I know the history. It's pretty amazing. I'm a big fan of the Dungeon Show. I appreciate you, brother. Do a call-in show. Well, I'm actually exploring some of that. I spent some time over the weekend looking at some ways to do that, because I know that the way that my show is structured, taking calls would be a hit. And when I did traditional radio, part of my success was my engagement with the callers and just having that dialogue with them. I get it. But this is what we have right now. And I think that it doesn't mean that this format can't work. It can't be engaging, because I think it is. But I get it. I get it. Love your songs. Vicky, I appreciate you so much. And I love my music too. And I love it because it's real. And I've written a lot of songs. And I've said this before, but I wish I could just record music all the time. Yeah, but I can't do that because I'm working with other people who have other lives. You know what I'm saying? So it takes longer, but man, my music saved my life. It completes my life because it's not fake. It's real. It's real. That song Make You Feel. You listen to the lyrics of that song. Deep. It's a deep song. It's talking about a person who was literally on cusp of losing their life, and they found inspiration. And the inspiration that they found was to help other people be successful. They were willing to sacrifice their life for the benefit of others. Wow, that's deep, and I wrote it. I'm very proud of it because it will stand the test of time. Jimmy Robinson. Hey, Rob. Thoughts on Bronny and this seemingly becoming more common? How are you already? Yeah, I did talk about it, but listen, I'll comment on it again because it's very serious. Um, I actually have an irregular heartbeat. I'm AFib, and I've had this condition um, since I was like early 20s, literally like 21, 22 when it was diagnosed. And I would say that I'm a high level athlete. Even to this point, I'm probably above average in terms of my physical condition. Um, I think like a pro. I try to train like a pro. I'm not a pro. So, but you know, I have a heart doctor, and I take medication, and I'll probably have to take medication for the rest of my life because um, having a I don't know how to define it. Ronnie had a cardiac arrest. That's how you pronounce it. It's real serious, and I'm not going to speculate. I'm not going to do that thing. It's going to be done, for the next couple of months or so. What I will say about Ronnie is life writes the script. We don't. We play a role. There's a higher power that's writing all of our scripts for us. And we have to, unfortunately, play the role. So, kind of a light bulb moment. And like I said before, when I coach players, my coaches told me what I believe. Basketball is only important when you're doing it. Whatever you're doing right now, that's the most important thing. You got some pros who, let's be honest, really don't give a damn. They like the money, they show up out of shape, they want to run things, and all of a sudden, the game is taken away from you. In the hierarchy, Bronny James himself is the most important thing. And if he could be on Earth for, I don't know, the next 100 years, that's more important than him ever stepping on a basketball court again. And he has to find a way to develop purpose in his life beyond his parents. That would be the challenge. But I don't want to speculate what his future is. I just want him to be healthy. And once he gets healthy, then that next conversation, that next course of action will kind of take care of itself. But what a wonderful young man. Handsome, smart, caring, civic. Take your hat off to Savannah and LeBron. They've raised some wonderful children. And Ronnie, what a great big brother. So I'm just happy that he's all right. Hey, Rob, and basketball comes second, man. If he plays basketball again, fine. If he doesn't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Live your life, man. I'm just happy that, there were some professionals in that environment, and seemingly they did everything right. And he went from being in the ICU, being stable, and hopefully he's going to be okay. So that's my feeling about that. As he said, Rick Rubin has one of the most legendary beards. Legendary? I can think of some more adjectives to describe it, but I won't. Somebody loves him. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen his wife. Ooh, what a beautiful woman. And real interesting in her own right in terms of her commitment to nature and plants and so many other different things. But yeah, Rick Rubin's doing okay. He's doing all right for himself. There's no doubt about that. Anybody else have anything that they want me to comment on? Feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will do that. I am Frank Red, but you guys know that. Hopefully everybody's following me at Nick Frank Red, and you've already subscribed, I'm sure. We know some folks you think that might like the show, then let them know about it. And yeah, that'll help the show. Because, as I said, when I get to 100 subscribers, then I'll start having some guests on, do some interviews. I know some folks. And I think the content will be great because you get to learn and talk to people who probably don't normally do a whole lot of interviews, but they probably do it for me. I'm so appreciative. But cool, SG, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for following me. I appreciate it. Yeah, no one can say that. Now, let me ask you a question, dude. You keep saying this. Like, you would look great in a beard. Why? Have you ever had a beard before? And I look, Frank, you look like you're 60. Wrong, not 60. I look like I'm 60? Jesus. I've seen some 60-year-old people before, dude. Wow. Okay, you have a beard. Very good. Now, you know what? The only time that I've ever grown a beard is when I travel overseas. I just let it rip. At that point, I don't shave, I don't do anything, and 11, 12 days later, I can't recognize myself. But you know what? I mean, listen, I'm not saying this is you, but the proliferation of beard on guys, if it's real, it's real. I mean, if you want to wear a beard and it's real and that's your thing, that's fine. But I think some people kind of want to wear a beard because they think it looks cool. They look tough. And I'm like, I don't get to do that. If I want to wear a beard, then I'll wear it. To be honest with you, I generally wear a goatee, right? But I become a little cheap, man. I mean, going to the barber used to be like, all right, $20, $25. I can't see myself paying somebody more than $20 or $25 to go to the barbershop. I'm not doing that. So I do it myself, and I'm not very good at it. You know what I'm saying? No, I would like to have a straight goatee. I think I'm gonna grow one, just so you can know what it looks like. But that's my rationale, man. I can't shape myself up as well as a skilled and trained barber could do. I think I need to sharpen up my clippers. But anybody feel me like that? I mean, you guys go to the barber? I mean, you guys feel comfortable paying more than $20, $25? And I know we have some ladies listening to the program. What you all have to go through is just astronomical. Some of the fees that you have to pay to go to the beauty parlor, get your hair done, your makeup. Wow. And I'm not a cheap guy. I mean, I'd rather give money out to have people go somewhere and I don't know, buy food, buy a meal or something, buy something that they need. But maybe I'm just out of touch. But to me, barber bill now is grown. It's increased quite a bit over the past decade. Mark says, hard to get a nice line trying to trim a beard. Yeah, and it just itches to me. I can't have all that hair. I mean, it's just too much, man. I normally prefer to go to the barber and have a professional give me a proper shave. And I would, that's not bad. $25 is fine. I mean, maybe even $30. You know, $30. Maybe you do 2 per hour, you make $60 an hour, 70. Hey man, if you make, and barbers get paid in cash money. So if you're making $60, $70 an hour, you work 6 to 8 hours, $500 a day. If you own your own shop, got your other barbers there, you're making a pretty darn good living. Maybe I'm out of touch. I have no idea. All right. This has been fun. And I appreciate everybody out there for listening to the program. Some of the topics we talked about was Bronny James, the son of Savannah and LeBron James, experiencing cardiac arrest, but now he's doing great. I would be too nervous having another man with a straight blade. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't really bother me. Every now and then, we'll get nicked. I don't have anybody shave me though with a straight blade. Sometimes I get somebody to do my head, and that's kind of cool. But I don't put any razors on my face. No way. I use clippers, right? I love being in the live chat. When you doing the next show? Next show, I don't know. I mean, I coach in the summer. I'm coaching basketball Thursday. Watching the Women World Cup tomorrow. I don't know. It might be tomorrow, maybe be Friday. I don't know. Romo, what's up, brother? I don't know. I got to figure it out. I do shows when I feel it. I do shows when I feel it. And when I have the opportunity to prepare. I don't come on here just wing it. I don't do that. You need to know that when I come on air, I've done like 2 hours of research and show prep. So that's important to me. So generally you're talking like a 3-4 hour commitment when I'm doing a show. But I love to do it. And it's necessary just to show you how I am of your time. If you check my show out, then you should have a sense that the host knows what he's talking about and he's done the work also. That's important to me. All right. With that said, I'm going to break down and I'm going to get out of here. One of the things I want to do is come on earlier because I wanted to get out of here before 12 o'clock. You guys have been hanging with me. And I'll probably start doing some shows a little earlier. But this is exciting, man. This is really exciting because in a mere month, a couple of weeks, there's going to be so much sports to talk about. It really is. Great show, Frank. Mark, thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you. But yeah, we're going to have so much to talk about. I'm going to leave you with this, though, because I picked up on this, and I'm sure you did as well. I don't know. I mean, I would assume that Brock Purdy is going to be the starter this year for the San Francisco 49ers. I have no problem with that, right? But the tape that I saw on Trey Lance was encouraging. And it reminded me of Aaron Rodgers. I saw Aaron Rodgers at Cal. Aaron Rodgers' release point when he was at Cal was like mid-chest. It was under his neck, it was mid-chest. And then what happened was Aaron Rodgers got an opportunity to go to Green Bay and be coached up by some excellent coaches. And all of a sudden, his release point got to here, right? And his life changed. When he became the starter of the Green Bay Packers, he was a different quarterback than he was at Cal. And Cal was a first-round draft pick, All-American. So they worked on Trey Lance's mechanics, and his mechanics are a lot better. And as a result, his throw motion is a lot better. Now, can he deal with the nervousness in the pocket? Can he read defenses? Can he be resourceful? Can he be creative? All those other variables will dictate whether or not someone becomes a successful NFL quarterback. We really don't know, but I do see the work, and I really appreciate that. So, all right. Got folks talking to each other. So I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get out and do my thing. Success didn't bring the manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, all I'm concerned you haven't done nothing. I am Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon program. Hit me up at Nick Frank Red on Twitter. I'll follow back. You know that. And if you have not, subscribe to the show. Hit that button. Become a part of the Dungeon community. Like I said, I appreciate everybody. Thank you for checking me out. And I'll see you when I see you. Peace.